What's up, YouTube? We are back at it again for the third book review today. I might do a couple more. I might just do one more. We'll find out. But this one is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. I read this maybe a year or two ago. I'm not quite sure. But regardless of when I did hear it or when I didn't, when I read it or when I didn't read it, regardless of whenever I did read it, it's a very, very good and informative and just great book. So some of the things I really, really liked about it. First, one of the big tips about remembering people's names and again winning friends and influencing people. What the book is about is remembering people's names. That's something that people like. That's something that I like. I'm sure that's something that you guys like, is when people remember your names. When people remember your name, because that's something that you closely connect to. That's who you are. I'm Caleb. You are whoever you are. So it's very, very good to remember people's names. They're going to remember that you remember their name, and that may or may not lead to you being their friend, or just having a better relationship at work or whatever. And so yeah, if you're looking for more friends and stuff, just remember people's names. Make sure you're repeating their names in conversation. It talks about that a lot. Once you meet somebody, you say, "Hi, George. Nice to meet you, George. How are you doing, George? You having a good day, George?" maybe not to that extent, but just be like, "Hey, George, how you doing?" Or like, "Hey, George, can you help me with this?" And that way, it kind of reinforces that connection in your brain between the name and the person, and you're more likely to remember it. To go even further than that, Dale Carnegie, I think he said every time he met a person, he would write down their name and their birthday. So, when it's their birthday, he can come around and say, "Hey, happy birthday," because he has every person's name written down in their birthday. And I think that's very, very intelligent, very, very cool and smart way to remember people's names and birthdays, because who remembers your birthday? No, not many people are going to remember your name and your birthday. And that's something that I haven't necessarily implemented, is what's the word, writing down people's birthdays. So something kind of another good tip from the book was don't correct people. I really think this is a very, very good point. Don't correct people. People do not like to be corrected. You can record. If you're going to correct someone, at least do it in a way that it's not rude. Be like, "Hey, did you actually mean this? Or perhaps did you mean this?" Don't be like, "That's wrong. This is what you mean." Because people don't like that. It makes them feel like something more than them. So I think that was a very, very good tip. And don't be a grammar Nazi. People don't like that either. So yeah, and there's a lot of good things from this book that you can gain. Another really good tip that I've learned from this book, as far as talking to people and learning things and winning friends and influencing people, is let people talk. So when you're having a conversation with someone and they're talking about something that's interesting to them, really listen, really intently listen, and be like, "Hey, if they say something like you have a question about it, question them further and be like, "Okay, that's interesting. How does this work? Can you tell me more about that? What does this mean? What does that jargon mean?" And more often than not, you'll end up learning something about whatever they do or whatever they're talking about that you didn't know beforehand. And in that way, the conversation becomes more interesting to you. So you're more committed to the conversation you're having, and people will notice that, and people will notice that you're asking questions and that you're actually intently listening to what they're saying, and that's gonna build that relationship between you and them. It's gonna, because it's like, yeah, this guy actually listens. You can actually carry on a conversation. It's gonna actually also make you a better conversationalist if you're better conversating and asking questions. Then yeah, you're just going to do better in conversations overall. So I'm kind of flipping through the book, and it's, again, I'm remembering some of the things I read. It says, how to spur people on to success. So what it means, I think I remember talking about like encouraging other people. Make sure that you're encouraging other people, and in turn they'll encourage you as well. But that's, you know, that's also going to help them do better and you feel better. So okay, yeah, I remember this as well. So it's talking about how like if you're in a position of power, right, or like you're the boss, you're the whatever, and you come around, you sit there berate your employees, and you tell them, hey, you're doing everything wrong. This is wrong. Blah 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 blah. They're not going to want to do the same quality of work for you as if that same manager had come up to them and said, hey, why are we doing it this way? This is how I normally do it. And then give them the chance to explain the reasoning behind why they're doing that. More likely than not, they're going to give you a reason, whether that's because it's how they were taught and that's up to code, or because this way is quicker, or whatever. But if you explain it to them in this way, and rather than just stating why they did something wrong, then it's going to be a better work environment. You're going to have more efficient employees because they're going to want to work good for you, and then you'll actually have insight into the reasons why they're doing something one way or another. So again, you know, just let people explain themselves. Don't like. I mean, if you're going to correct someone, you know, come at it in a way that you're like, this is the way we normally do it. Why are you doing it this way? And then, you know, give them the opportunity to explain, and perhaps you could be wrong. And, you know, if you just sit there and you berate them and you demean them, then whoever you're working with, or if you happen to be supervising or managing or whatever, whoever you're telling to do that isn't going to be as responsive to your leadership if you're not, you know, directing them towards what they need to be doing, or giving them the opportunity to explain, or, you know, just whatever. You shouldn't be just berating them just to berate them, because that's not going to be productive, and it's just probably going to have them work less hard for you. So, you know, if you're like me and you just like to have friends and, you know, you're interested in books, I would definitely recommend this one. It's going to be it's a very, very good book. It's insanely well written. It's super short, so I mean, you'll get through it super quick. Maybe like 279 pages. So I remember reading this like super quickly. And another great thing about it is everything in the book is applicable to real life. So you can actually take this information and then use it in your life to improve your relationships with people at work or just friends or whatever. But I would really recommend that you check this out. You know, this is one of the books that they point to when you're looking for an idea to write a book. Is, you know, if you're writing nonfiction, think How to Win Friends and Influence People. If you're thinking fiction, think Harry Potter. So, you know, this is like big idea book, you know, insanely well known, insanely popular, and, you know, insanely beneficial to anybody that reads it. So I would definitely recommend that you guys check it out. And I may do one more review, but that's it. You know, stay healthy, guys. Keep getting them games. That's it. Like and subscribe.